The chilling case of Nathan Carman, a deadly fishing trip. The story of Nathan Carman is a dark tapestry woven with mysterious deaths, a vast family fortune, and a fishing trip that ended in tragedy. At its heart lies the disappearance of Linda Carman at sea, a mystery that has captivated and baffled investigators for years. Was it a tragic accident or a cold-blooded act of calculated malice? Nathan Carman quickly became the prime suspect, a young man haunted by suspicion and circumstantial evidence. His life was a vortex of unanswered questions, a storm of accusations that ultimately led to a devastating end. This is a case that delves into the depths of family secrets, greed, and the murky waters of justice. Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. John Chikalos was a man of considerable wealth, a successful real estate developer with a life seemingly untouched by darkness. But on a fateful night in 2013, that life was brutally cut short. He had shared a meal with his grandson, Nathan Carman, just hours before his death. The discovery was made by his daughter Elaine, who found Chikalos lifeless in his home, the victim of a gunshot wound. The scene was one of stark horror, a jarring contrast to the opulence that surrounded him. Immediately, suspicion began to swirl, casting a long shadow over the family. Nathan Carman became a person of interest, the potential beneficiary of a substantial inheritance. The motive seemed clear: money. Evidence began to surface, including the purchase of a rifle similar to the one used in the murder. Adding to the suspicion, Nathan reportedly disposed of electronic devices, a move that only deepened the mystery. Yet, despite the mounting evidence and the intense scrutiny, no charges were ever filed against Nathan Carman in connection with Chikalos' death. The case remained open, a chilling reminder of unanswered questions. 3 years later, tragedy struck again. This time, it was a fishing trip off the coast of Block Island, Rhode Island, that would become the center of a new storm. Nathan Carman and his mother Linda set out on the Chickenpox, a boat that would soon become a watery grave. What began as a leisurely outing quickly turned into a nightmare. The Chickenpox sank, leaving Nathan adrift in a life raft. He was rescued after a week at sea, but Linda Carman was never found. The circumstances surrounding the sinking were immediately suspicious. Nathan's account of the events was riddled with inconsistencies, raising serious doubts about his version of the truth. The drift patterns seemed implausible, defying the logic of the ocean currents. Adding to the unease, Nathan appeared remarkably unscathed after his ordeal, a stark contrast to what one might expect after days of exposure. The questions mounted and the whispers grew louder. Was this another tragic accident, or something far more sinister? The initial search and rescue operation soon morphed into a full-blown criminal inquiry. The focus shifted squarely onto Nathan Carman, fueled by suspicion from his own aunts. The motive, once again, was believed to be inheritance. The family trust, estimated at $50 million, became the focal point of the investigation. Every action Nathan took before, during, and after the fishing trip came under intense scrutiny. Investigators began to dissect his every move, searching for clues that would unravel the truth. The pre-trip boat modifications raised red flags. Holes had been drilled, trim tabs removed, actions that seemed deliberately designed to compromise the vessel's integrity. The lack of a distress call further deepened the suspicion. Even Nathan's behavior after the rescue seemed unusual, detached and strangely indifferent to the fate of his mother. The Coast Guard and law enforcement agencies became deeply involved, meticulously gathering evidence and piecing together the puzzle. Vehicles were impounded at Ram Point Marina, the investigation intensifying with each passing day. Years passed and the shadow of suspicion continued to loom over Nathan Carman. Then, in 2022, the hammer finally fell. Charges were filed against him, including fraud and first-degree murder in connection to Linda's death. The legal battle was set to be a long and arduous one, a trial that promised to expose the darkest secrets of the Carman family. But it would never come to pass. In 2023, Nathan Carman took his own life in jail. He maintained his innocence until the very end, leaving behind a legacy of unanswered questions and unresolved mysteries. His death brought a sudden and tragic end to the legal proceedings, but it did nothing to quell the speculation and debate surrounding the case. Even with Nathan Carman's death, the case remains shrouded in mystery. Evidence points in multiple directions, suggesting both guilt and innocence. The truth, it seems, is elusive, hidden beneath layers of deception and uncertainty. Alternative theories have emerged, suggesting the possibility of other suspects. Could there have been a plot to kill John Chakalos, orchestrated by someone else entirely? The account of Joy Washburn, who claimed to have been offered money for a murder-for-hire scheme, adds another layer of complexity to the case. The family dynamics were undeniably complex, a web of intricate relationships and hidden resentments within a wealthy family. The allure of inheritance, the promise of vast riches, could have driven someone to desperate measures. The question remains, who else could have benefited from the deaths of John Chakalos and Linda Carman? The pre-trip preparations are a crucial piece of the puzzle. Nathan's boat modifications, the drilling of holes, and the removal of trim tabs all point to a deliberate act of sabotage. The purchase of a new bilge pump, seemingly intended to counteract the effects of the damage, only deepens the suspicion. Linda's precautions also paint a telling picture. She texted her float plan to friends, a routine she followed during fishing trips. This suggests a level of awareness and concern for safety, a stark contrast to the events that unfolded. Nathan's account of the sinking is riddled with inconsistencies. His claim of a sudden sinking and engine trouble seems implausible given the extent of the boat's modifications. The lack of a mayday call, a standard procedure in emergency situations, raises serious questions about his actions. The rescue itself is also a source of contention. Nathan's seemingly uninjured condition after a week at sea raised eyebrows among Coast Guard officials. Their skepticism about his physical state further fueled the suspicion that he was not telling the whole truth. The reactions of the Carman family were far from unified. Valerie Santilli, one of Nathan's aunts, openly accused him of being the town freak and of murdering John Chakalos. Her animosity towards Nathan was palpable, reflecting the deep divisions within the family. Linda's will added another layer of intrigue. She had cut Nathan out of her will, a decision that suggests a strained relationship and a lack of trust. This revelation further strengthened the motive for Nathan to harm his mother. Clark Carman, Nathan's father, remained largely silent in the aftermath of the tragedy. His reaction to the news was muted, and he seemed detached from the unfolding drama. The lack of communication from other family members only deepened the sense of unease and suspicion. The Coast Guard's initial response was a full-scale search and rescue mission. They meticulously analyzed Linda's cellular data, hoping to pinpoint her location. But despite their best efforts, Linda Carman was never found. The lack of debris and evidence is one of the most puzzling aspects of the case. The absence of flotsam and an oil spill, which would typically accompany a sinking, defies explanation. The contradictory drift models only added to the confusion, making it impossible to determine the exact location of the chicken pox when it went down. The case of Nathan Carman remains an enigma, a puzzle with missing pieces. The fate of Linda Carman is still unknown, lost to the depths of the ocean. The true nature of Nathan's involvement remains a subject of intense debate. As explored in Blood in the Water, there may have been overlooked suspects, individuals who could have had a motive to harm John Chakalos and Linda Carman. The case endures as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the wealthiest families. The mystery persists, a haunting testament to the enduring power of unanswered questions.